Hey, lovely people. I'm Sherry, a 26-year-old female. Let me tell you, I've lived enough to feel like I'm pushing 50. I'm about to spill some family drama that's been going on in my life. I really hope you enjoy my story. I lost my parents pretty early. I barely have any memories of them, and I ended up playing foster care hopscotch like nobody's business. Turns out that no one wanted the kid with the severe childhood trauma, but okay. By the time I hit 15, I threw in the towel on the whole adoption thing. I figured I was too old for these people to actually care enough. So I spent most of my days alone and just thinking about the future and how I wanted my life to be. Survival mode kicked in. I had to figure out how to make it once I hit 18 and was therefore legally an adult. Life's a tough cookie, but I was ready to take a big old bite if it meant no longer being miserable in my room all the time. So I busted my hump getting odd jobs in the neighborhood to squeeze out some extra pounds. I've always had nimble fingers, and people used to compliment me on how careful and precise I was. Probably would have become a neurosurgeon in another universe, but that couldn't be the case for me in this lifetime. Anyway, one day while playing around with colored beads and wires a friend had given me, a light bulb flickered. It was time to dive into the jewelry biz. I mean, why not, right? I was making some pretty cute nose and ear cuffs, and I knew that I could do more if I had the right materials. Seemed like a wild, impossible dream at the time, but I stayed on the grind, refining my craft. Before I knew it, I was 17 years old and I was launching an Etsy store, slinging my dazzling creations to blokes all across the UK. I was basically ready to move out before I needed to. And I was so freaking proud of myself. I knew that I could take this thing to new heights. I mean, no one was doing what I was doing, and I had to latch on to capitalism's sweet teat if I was going to be retiring by 35. I planned. So guess what I did? I worked even harder and smarter, proposing my business to potential investors, forcing myself through doors that were insisting on shutting me out, and ear-lashing just anyone who would listen, really. It was rocky at first. I almost gave up even because I was getting rejected a lot, but something inside of me told me to just keep pushing. Funnily enough, I found myself in the same room as people I used to watch on TV when my foster mom would put on Boston Legal and Suits. It almost felt like a fever dream. Because of my networking, I managed to catch the eye of a business investor who was coming from India. She wanted to tap into the jewelry market, and she told me that my work was cute and quaint. Even though I was crapping bricks, I managed to pitch my idea to her because I was determined to show her that I had what it took to become a force to be reckoned with. That go-getter attitude of mine, it worked like a charm, always landing me exactly what I wanted. And boy, did I hit the jackpot. I struck a killer deal with Claire, the Indian investor. This was the game changer. I could feel it in my stomach. The big break I'd been waiting for. But of course, there's always a catch. She dropped the bomb. For the business to explode, I had to pack my bags and head to the good old US of A. It made sense for her. I mean, the lady lived there, but me? Oh, I was shitting bricks. It took a hot minute to wrap my head around it all, leaving everything I knew in Wales for the Wild Wild West. It sounded like a stupid plot twist in a cheesy rom-com, but everyone I knew, all of my friends who were practically my siblings at this point, were all like, Sherry, you have to take this chance and run with it. My foster mom looked me in the eyes and told me to go there and never look back. So on my 18th birthday, I found myself in a plane, getting lost in the clouds, questioning how life had taken such a wild turn at such a young age. I knew I was destined for great things because this just doesn't happen to anyone. The next 5 years spent hustling in the Big Apple, pushing my jewelry business far and wide, using social media and making a name for myself. Thanks to Claire, my investor extraordinaire, I was on the map in no time. I kept my hustle online, but now I was slinging my creations worldwide. Can you believe it? Excitement doesn't even begin to cover it. I was proud as heck of the woman I was becoming, thinking I could conquer the world. Like I said, 5 years had gone by and I was now at the golden age of 23. I found myself jetting off to Texas with one goal in mind: to skyrocket my jewelry business at a convention tailor-made for independent hustlers like yours. There I was, setting up my stall and handing out some pamphlets, and then, as if scripted by the romance deities, I saw him. Bryce, suited up, looking like he just stepped out of a fashion magazine, sweaty hands and heart palpitations. Oh, you bet. I had never felt this way before. It was crazy. Running a business since the tender age of 17 left my love life in the dust. I mean, I barely had the time. Texting friends back was a luxury, so going on dates was always a distant dream. I never opted to date, even casually, just because I didn't have the time, and I didn't want my heart to be broken. Not very good for business, but seeing Bryce, it was like all those rational thoughts took a nosedive. Without a second thought, I found myself shuffling to his stall. He didn't exactly give off the jewelry making vibes. Seemed more like he was the helping hand to a friend. I'll admit, I was super shy and awkward at first. Yet, I managed to crack a smile and even a belly laugh from him. Score! We kept chit-chatting for a bit more, and in the end, he did the unexpected. He asked for my number. You wouldn't believe how excited I was when Bryce just wouldn't stop calling and texting. It was like I'd cast a love spell on him or something. Cloud 9? More like Sherry in the stratosphere. He went above and beyond, even flying to New York for our dates. Months of casual dating turned into something more, and Bryce was ticking all the boxes. Charming, sweet, kind, and most importantly, madly in love with me. So when he dropped the big question after 3 amazing years of being with him, I was over the moon. Cabo was where it all happened, on my birthday, with roses and a heartfelt proposal. Tears, the kind that's so unlike me, just flowed. And Bryce had this way of turning the right cogs, making me feel soft and loved. We finished up the birthday and proposal celebrations, and we were soon after on our way from Cabo to Texas, ready to share our joy with his family. I was nervous, as anyone would be, but I had even more cause for concern because of a certain someone who didn't seem to like me. Babe, are you sure your mom's gonna be okay with this? Sherry, I promise you she'll love it, but you know how she acts when I'm around. She's just being a bit overprotective, you know. After all, I am her only son. I know, it's just, she scares me, you know. I understand, babe, but I know her, trust me. All of that passive-aggressive crap she was doing is gonna melt away the moment she sees that ring on your finger. She'll know for sure that I'm being serious and that I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Okay, babe, I believe you, I guess. A couple of days after settling back into Texas, there I was, stomach churning, seated at my soon-to-be mother-in-law's dinner table. Elnora had no clue about the storm brewing within me, and she carried on with her usual treatment. She was the nice, nasty, Regina George type, always looking for an excuse to bully me without any real reason. At first, I thought it was just the typical hostility you get from in-laws out of protection and care, but that wasn't the case. Growing up in foster care didn't exactly expose me to different personality types. I used to think people like her only existed in the movies. Boy, was I wrong. She had this art of poking and prodding, just enough to feign innocence when called out for her rude and weird behavior. I'd always been a bit of a kiss arse, despite it though, hoping she'd warm up to me and that I could kill her with kindness. But gradually I caught on to the fact that if I was gonna play this game, I would lose every time. The lady just didn't like me, but she sure knew how to cloak her aggressiveness in passive behavior. So, how was the birthday trip to Cabo? Oh, it was wonderful. I wasn't asking you. Oh, I'm just pulling your leg, Sherry. Of course I was asking you. You're the birthday girl after all. How old are you again? Pushing 30 now, huh? Mom, stop it. Please. Oh, Sherry knows that we're just joking, right, Sherry? Never mind that. Tell me all about it. God, I wish I'd tagged along. I could use a vacation. Cabo was perfect, Mom, and what made it even more perfect is the fact that Sherry had said yes to something I had been thinking about for a while now. Oh, what is it? You didn't ask her to get that nose job I've been talking about. Seriously, Elnora? Oh, hush. You're so sensitive. Don't keep me waiting any longer. What's going on with you two? Bryce looked at me, a silent cue to spill the news, and I slowly pulled up my hand to show her the ring. His face lit up with obvious joy, while I was still a bit nervous, waiting to see how his mother would react. As for Elnora, her reaction was harder to pick apart. She just stared at us blankly, seemingly processing everything. After an awkward silence that felt like ages, Bryce, unable to contain his excitement, asked his mom if she was okay. Then, unexpectedly, Elnora burst into laughter. We exchanged confused looks, wondering what was going on in her mind. She started talking about how we got her good and warned us not to pull pranks at the dinner table. This is when Bryce's mood took a sharp turn. He got super pissed at his mom. He yelled, questioning why she couldn't take anything seriously. He told her that a normal mother would be happy for her kid instead of laughing and passing it off as some joke. Elnora, looking desperate, tried to cover her tracks, claiming she was just overwhelmed by the news and that she was actually quite happy for the both of us. Yeah, right. As if I wasn't surprised already, Bryce dropped a bombshell. And another thing, I didn't think I'd have to say this, but considering how you're acting, I might need to, just so we're on the same page. Bryce, honey, I didn't mean to upset you. Let me finish. The way you've been treating Sherry is disgusting. And since she's my fiance and soon-be wife, we'll both be expecting changed behavior. Oh, come on, Bryce. Aren't you being a bit too irrational? I told you this is how Sherry and I joke, right, Sherry? Actually, Elnora, I've always had an issue with the way you speak to me. You talk down at me like I'm your lackey or a peasant, and I don't like it. I don't like it either. I just wanted to say that we would appreciate it if you started treating her with respect. Wow, I don't know what to say. How about I'm sorry? I apologize, Sherry. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. I was shocked when Elnora actually apologized to me. It felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. All I needed was an apology and changed behavior, and I was convinced that we could have a blast and be a big happy family, something I never got the chance to have on my own. Dinner went on surprisingly well after that awkward encounter. Elnora wasn't rude to us at all, and we were chumming it up like we were old buddies. It was great. After dinner, Elnora found me in the kitchen, tidying up and putting some dishes away. Hey, that pie was delicious, by the way. You're gonna have to send me that recipe as soon as possible. Listen here, you little brat. What? I don't know what you told my son and where he got the idea that he could speak to me that way, but I'll be damned if I let an orphan wedge her way between us. Nora, what are you talking about? You think you're so smart, don't you? Coming into our lives and turning everything upside down. Why didn't you just go back to your little country with your tea and crumpets and leave us alone? You know what? This one's on me. I should have known that was a bullcrap apology. You think I'd ever apologize to you? You've got another thing coming, and if you know what's good for you, you'll break up with Bryce. Why? So that you can get a chance with him? Newsflash, Elnora. He is your son. I don't know what kind of drugs you've been smoking, but he is a grown man, and he is in love with me, and I'm in love with him. So I'm not going anywhere. You just want him for his money. You're nothing but a gold-digging leech. For the millionth time, Elnora, I don't care about your son's money. I have my own. You'd know that if you cared enough about my business. Why would I care for crappy handmade jewelry? I'm not a poor orphan. Disgusting. Maybe, but at least I'm not a gold digger. You're just one of his playthings. I'll admit, he's never proposed to anyone before, but I know that this isn't serious. He'll kick you to the curb when he's done with you. We'll see about that. After Elnora showed me her true colors, I decided not to tell Bryce about it. You might be wondering why. Well, to be honest, I didn't want to ruin his relationship with his mother. As someone who didn't have one, I knew that exposing the truth would put a huge damper on their relationship. Nobody should have to lose a mother in any way. I thought that it would be better to protect him from the truth. I decided that I was going to fight this battle myself, and that's what I did. Months of wedding planning went by, and of course, Elnora was inserting herself into the wedding plans like a true bridezilla. Bryce and I tried to be nice, letting her know time and time again that it was our wedding and not hers, but she wouldn't budge. She was trying to pick out all the colors, decorations, and our invites, everything. It's like she wanted her hand in every single decision. I was getting fed up, which was compounded by the fact that I knew Elnora's true colors. Bryce was so sweet and kind to me, always reassuring me that we just had to get through the wedding day and then we would have the rest of our lives to be with each other. We can even move if you want to. I just want to be with you. I know, babe, your mom is just a bit much to handle. I know. But, she's older, she's set in her ways, and I don't think she knows what she's doing. Oh, I'm sure she's well aware. What was that? Oh, nothing. Let's just get this wedding show on the road. About 6 months went by, and both Bryce and I were basically prepped and ready to walk down the aisle. Elnora and I had been arguing behind the scenes, of course, and she was getting more and more aggy and desperate when she realized that I was serious about marrying her son, and I wouldn't budge. I was living in it, though. It made me happy knowing how desperate she was getting. Bryce was still none the wiser, and I was glad I was able to keep this heartbreaking secret from him. 2 nights before my wedding, Elnora called me and told me that she had something important to say. Well, looks like you've done it. If by done it, you mean putting months of hard work into planning my dream wedding with my dream man, then yes, I have done it. You might have fooled him, but you still haven't fooled me. I know you're only with him for his money, which is why I'm demanding a prenup. You can't be serious. I'm dead serious, Sherry. You can marry my son, but let's see who you'll be when none of his money is involved. I just about had it at that point. She was hell-bent on making me look like the bad guy. And so I decided that I was going to give her exactly what she wanted. Okay, Elnora. Wait, I said, okay. If this will prove to you that I don't want your son's money, then we can do a prenup. Oh, that was easier than expected, but I know you're probably planning and plotting something. At least you won't have his money. She hung up the call and I started chuckling to myself, refusing to believe that Elnora was a real human being with a real human heart. Now, y'all might be wondering how my business was doing after all these years. And let me just say that retiring at 35 might have originally been a joke, but it was now becoming a really big possibility for me. God had been so kind to me, allowing for my business to boom like this. I spent most of my days chilling at home, being a housewife because I had nothing better to do. My jewelry continued to sell like hotcakes, especially with the rise of the boho/hippie aesthetic that a lot of Gen Z and millennials are now getting into. I had a net worth of $500,000, and I was only getting better with time. Bryce was always telling me how proud he was of me, defying all the odds and ending up where I was. He didn't mind at all that I made more money than him, and he said that one day he'd be just like me, chilling at home so that we could spend some more time together. The next day, after Elnora called me for the prenup, she came over to discuss the arrangement. Not too surprising. I mean, she was there for every other aspect of the wedding planning. It's like we couldn't get a break naturally because we were discussing finances. Bryce and I had our bank account details opened up on our laptops so that we could practice our financial hygiene and budget some last-minute things for the wedding. Elnora arrived, being her fake nice self, as always. When I mentioned the prenup to Bryce, he was a bit taken aback, but he respected my wishes, especially when I told him that the suggestion came from his mother. Like I said, Bryce didn't mind at all, so our meeting went well. After some time, he had to leave because he had some business to tend to, as well as seeing a lawyer about setting up the prenup officially, leaving me and my mother-in-law alone in the house. Elnora started laughing, saying that she ruined my plans, but I just rolled my eyes at her. I was closing my tabs, getting ready to go back to my office and tend to my own business when Elnora turned pale all of a sudden. What's the matter? Are you sick? Oh, nothing. I just thought that I saw something. Must be my Eyes playing a trick on me. What did you see? Oh, never mind it. I just thought that I saw 5 figures in your bank account. Silly me. How could someone like you have that much money? I just laughed for a bit as I reopened the tab to show her that her eyes weren't playing any tricks on her. Sure enough, my bank account balance was showing $650,000. And to add insult to injury, I had just received some orders which were totaling an additional $10,000 from my business. When I looked at her face, it looked like she had seen a ghost. She started stuttering and stammering, acting like a damn fool. But how? What? Since when? How is this even possible? You should really start taking an interest in your in-laws' businesses. You always thought that I wasn't making enough money, but you'd be shocked to know I have more money than your own son. Maybe the prenup thing wasn't such a bad idea. I love Bryce, and God forbid anything happens, but with money like this, it's always smart to protect my assets. So really? I should be thanking you. No, Sherry, you've got it all wrong. The prenup was a bad idea. What sort of marriage has prenups anyway? You two will be fighting all the time. It's a bad idea. Oh, please. You're only changing your tune now because you saw my bank account. What? How could you accuse me of that? That has nothing to do with this. Okay, so you don't mind the prenup then? Of course I do. It was a bad idea. We should undo it. I'm sure there's still time. Let me call Bryce. Save it. The prenup is staying. You never cared about us. Didn't you? Why don't you want to let the prenup go? You were fine with not having a prenup up until last night. Why are you being so stubborn? True, but like I said, you've opened my eyes. I'm sorry, Elnora, but I want to save myself. From a gold digger, yeah. Doesn't feel so nice when the tables are turned, huh? But I guess that's just how karma works. Elnora was having a really tough time processing how serious I was about the prenup, but she eventually left my home in a huff and a puff. The next day was my wedding day, of course, and Bryce had informed me and some close friends, including Elnora, before walking down the aisle, that the prenup had been officialized. My wedding was a blast, and what made it even sweeter was catching glimpses of my scowling mother-in-law. She was not having a good time because she knew that she made the biggest mistake of her life asking for that prenup. Karma sucks.